Okay, so people just got back from watching Megalopolis. I think that's how Megalopolis, yeah. I don't know why I doubt myself sometimes, right? It's written and directed by Francis Ford Coppola. The film is produced by, who we got? Fred Ross, Barry J. Hirsch, Michael Bederman, and Francis Ford Coppola. It's executive produced by Darren M. Dimitri, Anahid Nazarene, and Barry M. Osborne. It is associate produced by Adriana Rotaru and Jesse James Chisholm. It is co-produced by Mariella Cometini, James T. Mokoski, and Masa Tuzuki. I feel that's how you say it. Osvaldo Goligov took care of the music. Mihai Malamer Jr. was on cinematography. Robert Schaefer, Glenn Scantleberry, and Cam McLaughlin edit the piece. Courtney Bright and Nicole Daniels took care of casting. Beth Mickle and Bradley Rubin, a production design. Art direction is Samantha Avila, Brittany Hitz, David Scott, Dominic Silvestri, and Freddie Woff. Lisa K. Sessions is set decoration. Costume design, we have Melina Canonero. And our cast. It's a vast cast, right? So Cesar Catilina is Adam Driver. Actually, I'm just going to go here. It's probably the easiest thing to do. Where is the cast? Okay, yes. Caesar. We have got I mean, there's so many people. Talia Shire is Constance Crassius Catalina. That's Caesar's mother. We have got the wife. Jeez. Well, no, actually, no wife. He wasn't. Okay, we got Nathalie Emmanuel as Julia Cicero. That's his love interest. Right? Franklyn Cicero is played by Giancarlo Esposito, and that is Julia's father. His wife is So Teresa Cicero is played by Kathleen Hunter. We've got Nush Berman, played by Dustin Hoffman. That's Cicero's fixer. There is Claudio Pluca. That's Caesar's cousin, played by Shia LaBeouf. We've got Lawrence Fishburne as Fundi Romain. He narrates the film and he's also Caesar's driver. We have got Claudia Pluka, played by Chloe Finneman. There's Commissioner Stanley Hart, played by D.B. Sweeney. Charles Crawthorpe, played by James Remmer. Claudine Pluka, played by Isabel Cushman. Huey Wilkes, played by Bailey Ives. Claudette Pluka, played by Madeline Gardella. There's Aram Kazajan, Claudio's right-hand man, played by Balthazar Getty. Sunny Hope Cataline is played by Hayley Sims. We've got Vesta Sweetwater, played by Grace Vanderwaal. There is also Jason Schwartzman, plays Jason Zanderzez, a member of Cicero's entourage. John Voight is Hamilton Cressius III, Caesar's uncle. Aubrey Plaza is Val Platinum, right? She's a TV presenter. That's probably our main group of people. So the gist of the film is this: the city of New Rome faces the duel between Cesar Catilina, a brilliant artist in favor of a utopian future, and the greedy mayor, Franklyn Cicero. Between them is Julia Cicero, with her loyalty divided between her father and her beloved. So, that's the film. Now, boy, there has been a lot said about this. Now, I will say this screening didn't have the live aspect of the film, because that's one big thing I read, that, when it screened, I think it was Cannes, right? The original, where it debuted, had its premiere, that there was a live aspect. Someone runs in and says something, I think it just once, maybe a few times, I can't remember really. And I know that he was pushing for that in the theatrical release. I don't know if he was able to do that stateside. It didn't come across the pond. So there was that. I don't know how much that changes the way you look at this film. Right? I mean, out the gate, you look and you're like, this is impressive. Production-wise, this is very impressive, It's a story that was, a labor of love for Coppola, right? He came up with the idea supposedly in 1977. That's 1977, people. I mean, it couldn't be 2077, right? But yeah, that's when he came up with the idea. Now, I will say, it's not a crazy radical idea of superimposing Rome on current times, future times, right? Loads of people have done it, but it's always an interesting way to approach things, right? There's things that you can do with it. Now, he came up with this idea in 1977, the fall of Rome, right? And how that can be interpreted in our time, the future and all of this. But it was just, it took ages to develop, right? And it was getting close to being produced, but studios were scared of the costs. In the end, and I feel a load of people should do this, right? Back it by your own cash, right? It's not like some of these big directors are poor. You know what I mean? So back it by your cash. Make the money on the back end, like Lucas did with Star Wars. You know what I mean? So I respect him for doing that. Right? There was a point he was close, but because of September 11th, he put it on hold because there are elements that were similar. But yeah, it finally got made. But even being made now, there were issues, right? The design team disappeared. They all walked out. Because they're like, oh, we suggest something and he doesn't want it. And I'm just like, he's paying for the film. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that he's been thinking about for 50 years, nearly. So you go by what the fuck he says. He's paying you that money. Why are you fronting? And when you look at this, it is so out there, so crazy. I can see how this could have been a hard thing to kind of translate to people, to get people to understand, There is that. It is an odd film in the way it is acted, because there are times when it feels like people are performing, right? Like this was a stage play. And there's times when people are being very exaggerated, may be the best word to kind of describe it. There's times when we are on Cesar, Adam Driver's character, and he's kind of like freaking out, and it's very performative, right? Very performative, which is a little jarring. You know what I mean? Is a little jarring. Ain't gonna lie, but you kind of grow accustomed to it all. Now, don't get me wrong with this, but other than Giancarlo Esposito, I never pronounce homie's name well. There's no really other black characters in any sort of position of power, right? There's just none. Fishburne is a driver, right? Like it's a little odd. Now, I don't know if that's an intentional thing, right? Part of this downfall narrative, but yeah, a little bit. When you have this vast cast, right? All of these different roles to have, yeah, a little bit weird, I thought, but Coppola is telling his story, so we'll go with that. I think there was times when, like, the love story with Nathalie Emmanuel's character and Adam Driver's character, it's hard to really see why. You know what I mean? It's like, why are they in love? What are the reasons here? So there were things like that didn't, for me, quite translate. It is a long film, right? It's 2 hours and 18 minutes. There are longer films. This did feel very long. It did feel like it could have been cut down to an hour and a half. There are things that go down where you think, is this really important for the story? Like, if we lost this, would we really be losing anything? there is a lot of green screen used as well. Like we open up with Caesar stepping out onto the roof of this building. Not quite sure why, right? But he's on this and he steps to like, jump, but then decides not to. And all of that is clearly green screen, right? So some of the green screen stuff is jarring, but then other parts of it not, like the fantastical city and all of this kind of thing. So, I mean, I applaud Coppola for his imagination, right? His desire and determination to bring this to fruition. I mean, that's impressive. The way this is lit and the color grading and all of those things, production, that's all tremendous. It's magnificent. The story itself, maybe not the strongest, maybe not the strongest, but it's intriguing in places and more so in some places than others. You know what I mean? That's what I will say about this one. So if you are intrigued, right? If you want to see what all the talk is about, and by no means, like some people are really deriled the film. I don't think it's the worst thing you will have seen. It's not the worst thing that's come out this year, this month, right? So yeah, it's not a terrible film. It just isn't. It's not a film where once done, I'm pondering on things. I'm going, whoa, I wonder what that means. Yo, what did you interpret with that scene and this thing? But I'm not doing that. Some of you may be, right? But it didn't hit me in that way. But interesting nonetheless. So people, that is my take on Metropolis.